You judged us by what we destroy, not by what we choose to save. If this is an experiment...
The ocean had always hidden secrets, but no one expected it to hide truth. The structure was found nearly 11 kilometers below the Pacific Ocean, resting silently on the ocean floor like a sleeping god. It was not metal, nor stone, nor anything found on Earth. Smooth and seamless, it reflected no light and resisted every attempt to cut, scan, or damage it. At first, scientists believed it was a natural anomaly. Then it activated itself. On a quiet morning in June 2097, every satellite lost signal for exactly 12 seconds. Every power grid flickered. Every human-made clock paused, as if time itself had inhaled. Then, the structure spoke. Not with sound, but with presence. And humanity listened. To the architects revealed themselves as sky changed first. Across every city, desert, ocean, and mountain, the clouds parted to reveal a colossal holographic formation orbiting Earth. It was visible everywhere at once, yet touched nothing. Massive shapes of light and geometry unfolded like living equations. The beings within the light were tall, symmetrical, and incomprehensible, neither organic nor mechanical. Their forms shifted constantly, as if reality struggled to define them. Their voice arrived inside human minds simultaneously. "We are the architects." People collapsed to their knees. Planes nearly fell from the sky. Entire armies froze. "This world is not yours. It never was." Panic spread like fire. The architects explained calmly, without cruelty or pride. Millions of years ago, long before the first human breath, they had selected a young planet with stable conditions. They shaped its oceans, adjusted its atmosphere, seeded it with life. Earth was a laboratory. Life evolved under careful observation. Extinctions were not accidents. Asteroids were variables. Survival instincts were parameters. When humans emerged, the architects watched closely. "You were the experiment's final phase," they said. "Intelligent life with unrestricted free will." 3. Judgment Day. For centuries, the architects had monitored humanity's progress. They measured technological growth. They recorded wars. They tracked inequality. They observed climate collapse. They counted nuclear weapons. Their conclusion was simple: the experiment has failed. A single sentence shattered the world. Human leaders demanded explanations. Scientists begged for dialogue. Military commanders issued threats they knew were meaningless. The architects were not angry. They were disappointed. "Your species demonstrates intelligence without unity, power without restraint, progress without wisdom." Then came the final declaration. Earth will be reset. The planet would be sterilized. Oceans would boil. Continents would fracture. Life would begin again, slowly, carefully. Better, humanity had 72 hours for. Maya Elwood was not watching from a command center. She was in the ruins of a coastal city, pulling survivors from the remains of a collapsed hospital after a massive earthquake. She had spent most of her life in disaster zones: earthquakes, floods, wars. When the sky spoke, she didn't scream. She listened. Later, as governments argued and the world spiraled into chaos, Maya sat alone beside a child whose parents had died hours earlier. The girl held Maya's hand, shaking, afraid. Maya whispered stories until the child slept. That night, Maya sent a message to the global emergency network, not as a leader, but as a witness. "If they're judging us," she wrote, "then someone who has seen humanity at its worst and best should speak against all logic." The architects answered. 5. The unmeasured variable Maya was brought to a platform suspended above Earth's atmosphere. The planet glowed beneath her, fragile, beautiful, scarred. The architects surrounded her like silent stars. "You are not a leader," they said. "You possess no authority." Maya nodded. "I know. Why should you speak for your species?" She looked down at Earth. "Because I've held dying strangers in my arms. Because I've seen people run toward danger instead of away from it. Because I've watched humans give everything for someone they'll never meet again." The architects processed this. "Such behavior is statistically insignificant." Maya smiled sadly. "Then your experiment is flawed." 6. What the architects missed. Maya spoke for hours. She didn't deny humanity's failures. She acknowledged them fully: war, greed, destruction. But she spoke also of firefighters entering burning buildings, of doctors treating enemies, of strangers donating organs, of people choosing kindness even when no reward existed. "You measured our survival," she said, "but you never measured our sacrifice." The architects replied, "Compassion is inefficient." "Yes," Maya said, "so is art. So is love. So is hope. And yet, without them, intelligence becomes hollow. The architects fell silent. For the first time since their arrival, silence was not calculated. 7. The question of free will. Maya took a breath. You say this is an experiment. Then respect its rules. Free will means choosing, even choosing wrongly. If we destroy ourselves, let that be our choice. But if we change, let that be free will too. The architects analyzed millions of possible futures. None accounted for this. Your argument is emotional. Yes, Maya said. That's the point. 8. A decision older than time. The architects withdrew. Across Earth, people waited, crying, praying, raging, hoping. Hours passed. Then the sky spoke again. The experiment will not end. The world exhaled. However, the architects continued. Observation alone isn't sufficient. They announced a change unprecedented in their history. We will no longer be distant observers. We will become participants. The architects would guide, not control. Teach, not command. Watch, not judge. Earth would live. 9. After the architects' holograms vanished, the signal beneath the ocean went silent. Nothing physically changed, but everything else did. Humanity knew now that it was being watched, not as a failure, but as a story still unfolding. Wars did not end overnight. Greed did not vanish. Fear still existed, but excuses disappeared. People could no longer pretend their actions were insignificant. Maya returned to Earth quietly. She refused fame. She went back to disaster zones because the experiment was still running, and for the first time, humanity knew the rules. 10. Epilogue. The unfinished story far beyond human space. The architects recorded new data. Not about destruction. About choice. About imperfect beings who refused to surrender meaning. For the first time in millions of years, the architects faced an unfamiliar conclusion.